It has been 1,000 years since I last looked upon you, Tyrande. I thought of you every moment I roamed through the Emerald Dream.
My heart rejoices to see you again, Furion. But I would not have awakened you unless the need was urgent.
In the dream, I felt our land being corrupted, just as if it were my own body. You were right to awaken me.
The Burning Legion has returned, Furion. Cenarius is dead, and Outlanders roam freely through our most sacred vales.
As was foretold. No doubt Archimonde will make his way to Hyjal Summit and attack the World Tree. If he succeeds in draining the tree's energies, this world will be doomed.
My only thought was to awaken you and the rest of the Druids. The Druids of the Talon reside within the Barrow dens at the end of this valley. If we can reach them, we may have a chance to stop Archimonde and his demons.
That did it, boys! We've driven them off! Let's regroup back at the base and tend to our wounded.
So, the Outlanders battle against the undead as well. They could prove to be powerful allies against Archimonde and his ilk.
They are mongrels and nothing more. They are responsible for Cenarius' death. I will be damned before I stand with them.
Perhaps you are right, my love. We will establish our new settlement here. Keep your sentries alert. I doubt that we have seen the last of the Outlanders or the undead.
Oh, hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. I'm happy to say that we are yet again playing Warcraft 3, and I have no physical ailments at this time. Hip hip hooray for that. All we start off with in this mission is a Tier 2 Ancient of Life, or Tree of Life, whatevs. We have to go and tangle our gold mine with it. We have 2 towers, we have an Ancient of War, and we have an Ancient of Lore, the latter of which lets us produce dryads. And we are going to park them right here, because there's no real need to walk them all the way down the hill.
As the goddess wills.
And park them there, so we'll just start producing that split second earlier.
By Elune.
We're going to have a pretty dryad huntress focused composition with maybe 2 or 3 ballistae. Ballistae? Was that the plural that we discovered before? Ballistas. To give us some pushing power. We're gonna get all of our stuff grouped up correctly, ready to go once the gold mine is entangled, get these bad boys out on the front lines tanking for us, and focus down the High Priest. So you may have noticed there were some owl scouts I pointed out in the trees southeast and northwest of the base. We're smushed between an orc camp and an undead camp. And up ahead, there's also a human camp that we're going to be heading towards. So all 4 races are represented here in this mission. The undead and the orcs don't really bother us. They do some back and forth skirmishing, mainly with wyverns and gargoyles kind of crossing the ravine that our base lies in. But they will occasionally stop to attack us. But the towers we start with are plenty to defend, so we don't actually need to leave anything back at the base. Our main concern is first going to be the humans, and then this deluge of neutral creeps that can get really troublesome.
Wait, I know those furbolgs. They escaped from Ashenvale when the corruption started to spread.
Perhaps they did not escape the corruption after all.
The goddess calls.
So there are furbolgs here. We have to watch and make sure we aren't losing units to these, because even though they're few in number, they hit pretty hard. That force of nature is clutch because it saved the dryad and gave them something new to focus on. Oh, how did you get back here? Why are some of the dryads so far forward? So there are furbolgs here, there are humans further ahead, and then the real problems start because there are satyrs.
Then I will put an end to their curse. Undo Falador!
And among the satyrs are a lot of casters that do things like raise the dead and balloon the enemy force's size out of control, and that makes battles pretty difficult to manage. And then there's the spooky forest full of ghosts that can possess your units, so focus fire is going to be key there. For such a compact map, they put a lot between you and those barrow dens, and including a level 4 paladin. Less annoying than the one in the first Night Elf mission. Oh, look at that. The Wyvern is not going to be a problem. There should be some gargoyles coming from the purple undead base later. Also shouldn't be too bad. Not in love with this position, especially because of Divine Shield. But he doesn't have the insane cooldown and the unlimited mana pool that the Paladin from the first mission had, so he's not too bad. Could use some light reinforcements from the Treants. Unlike the next base that we're going to go into, we're really only going to cripple the production and kind of beeline our way to the back of the base. So there should be the barracks here, the Arcane Sanctum, which, depending on how this goes, we might not even need to destroy. 2 towers and another gate. Oh yeah, and we didn't have control of Malfurion last time. The Keeper of the Grove. He's... Oh man, I put him too far behind the gold mine, so he somehow aggroed some of the neutral trolls. That shouldn't actually affect anything. I might need to pull a wisp or two at some point in the near future. And we're gonna spend a little bit of time at this cap. It actually works out pretty well that we are capped on supply right now, because we're gonna pick up a couple of units that are just gimmies coming up. So that'll push us a little bit over the food limit, which is actually useful. This only has about 100 gold left in it. We're still gonna move the Ancient over there, just to take care of the gargoyles so they don't accidentally do something catastrophic. So Malfurion has Thorn's Aura, which reflects a portion of damage received from melee attackers to our units. He's got Entangling Roots, which is a damage over time. That also roots the target. Should be about enough to deal with this one gargoyle. Then we shouldn't have too many problems with those going forward. So yeah, Entangling Roots, it's a DOT and a disable. And he also has Force of Nature you saw me take advantage of earlier. It turns a clearing of trees into a bunch of treants, which we can use as meat shields. And now we have the super spooky forest, full of the ghosts that I talked about before. Ghosts, when we see those come up, like right here, we might lose one. Yep, lost one huntress to it. Ghosts can possess your shit, so they suck, and we have to focus fire them really carefully. And the more you fan out in this forest, the more you realize that things are just going to spring out of the ground, or the trees, or the fog of war. It's pretty much a constant crawl of neutrals. But it's also our only other source of gold in this mission, because our final hurdle that I haven't mentioned yet, but that we saw from the collapsing gold mine, the mine that already depleted itself, is that the one that's close to the Tree of Life at the start, it starts off nearly depleted. There's not a lot in there. We can expand, but that's very slow, so ideally I would like to finish this mission with the limited gold that we get from that single mine. And that's really tough, given the second half of this mission is such a hassle. And you can wind up losing a lot, especially in the next base that we get to. And while we're here worrying about the limited number of units that we're going to get this mission, did you know that one of the first new features that was developed for the Warcraft series or rather, at the onset of the development of the series, was the ability to select multiple units in a single grouping. Many people credit Command and Conquer for being the main source of inspiration for Warcraft, but Westwood didn't go on to make CNC until 95-ish? It was actually the Dune 2 RTS that came out around 93 that was Warcraft's primary muse.
No, the outpost has been corrupted, and the Treants have been driven mad. They do not deserve this cruel fate.
Come no further, weakling. Lord Tichondrius commanded us to kill anyone attempting to enter this place, and we shall.
Pathetic wretches. It pains me that you once called yourselves Night Elves.
So that's the final base that we have to assault in this mission, and it's kind of a doozy. Because it's a corrupted Night Elf base, and instead of being full of huntresses and archers and dryads, it is full of an incredible number of satyrs. Satyrs that do some really nasty shit. And we have a plateau up on the right that we have to deal with before we go into the main base, because there are two towers on the high ground that will just rain rocks down on you. And it becomes this huge kill zone. If you try to cross this low ground choke point and go into the main base, you're going to get sandwiched by the units up here. You're going to be getting dealt blows from rocks coming up from the high ground. It's a lot. It makes the fight almost completely unmanageable, especially in our state. But to get back to the point I was making about Blizzard, the folks at Blizzard, who were then Silicon and Synapse, they loved Dune 2 so much, and they wanted to make their own RTS because of it. But for all of its innovation, the Dune series, that is, and how much the team loved that series, Dune and Dune 2 had this fatal flaw. You could only select one unit at a time. And so that was one of the first challenges that they tackled in the design of Warcraft. And by all accounts, the development of Warcraft was complete chaos. So it's kind of a wonder that the game came out in the state that it did, which is to say, pretty damn polished, pretty solid. They didn't even have a GDD for the game, so development was just this maelstrom. And this was just how they operated back then. That was just it. That's just what they did. This fight's actually going super well because I rooted the main satyr, the one with the unholy aura, so he didn't get to go back to heal at the Moonwells. Yeah, this should be smooth sailing from here. And because that's how they operated back then, they almost changed their names from Silicon and Synapse, not to Blizzard, but to Chaos. And we're coming up on the close of this mission, so just take a second and think about how different the landscape of the game industry, or the games industry rather, would be without Dune and Dune 2. Warcraft 3 is my all-time favorite game, so I feel kind of obliged to have some kind of reverence, or at least respect for those games, even though I've never played Dune or Dune 2. But just think for a second, no Dune 2, no Warcraft, no Warcraft, no Warcraft 3, no Warcraft 3, no Dota 2, no League of Legends. That's one small branch from that. Who knows how many other innumerable things would have changed, like this ripple effect, this butterfly effect, had Dune 2 never come out. That's a completely different industry today. God damn, Warcraft 3 is incredible. Goddamn, Dune 2 must have been a hell of a game.
How dare you!
And we are... Oh, I timed this poorly. Done with this mission. Just gotta get scenario... Malfurion up to the barrow dens.
It shall be done. Come forth, druids of the Talon. Let the storm crows fly once again upon the winds of war. Ishnu Allah, my brethren. Kalimdor has need of your powers once again, for the hour of doom is at hand.
We are yours to command, Shundo Stormage.
Now we must delve into the earth and rouse the ferocious druids of the Claw from their slumber. These barrow deeps have remained untouched for nearly 3,000 years. Still, there's no telling what creatures may have taken up residence after we sealed these tunnels shut.
There is nothing to fear in this place. The only enemy that has ever given me pause is now corrupting the lands above us. Let us be done with this business and get back to the surface.
Agreed. Just be careful. There is no telling how the druids of the Claw will react to us after all this time.
Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. We will pick up from here next time. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one.